Welcome, and thank you for visiting the Christ Prince of Peace Beyond Sunday website. My name is Steve Notestein, and I've been a CPOP parishioner for 29 years. Recently, I was appointed to the newly formed Roman Catholic Foundation, which oversees planned giving and capital campaigns for the Archdiocese. I am chairman of the Beyond Sunday Capital Campaign at Christ Prince of Peace to raise money for Catholic education. I appreciate your time in visiting to hear about what Beyond Sunday means to the Archdiocese of St. Louis and to the families at Christ Prince of Peace. This is a major component of Archbishop Carlton's Alive in Christ campaign. He believes that Catholic education is vital for the future of the Church. The Beyond Sunday Capital Campaign is his plan for Catholic education. Every parish will participate in the Beyond Sunday campaign. Each parish has a goal equal to 1.2 times the annual offertory, or $1,270,000 for Christ Prince of Peace. Archdiocese-wide, we are looking to raise over $100 million. So how will the money be spent? 60% will be deposited in a separate designated account for middle income financial assistance. Never before has the Archdiocese provided tuition assistance for middle income families. There will be a cap of $2,000 per student for either parish or Catholic private schools. Currently, we are awaiting a decision on whether to permit multiple scholarships per family. The remaining 40% of the money raised in Christ Prince of Peace stays in Christ Prince of Peace, with 50% being used for capital and reserve items, such as the school boiler, 35% for Christ Prince of Peace scholarships, and 15% for family and PSR faith formation initiatives. How much should I give? My first response is to give all that you can. We recognize that every parishioner is in a different financial situation. We know that some cannot participate, while others have been greatly blessed financially. We simply ask that you consider a sacrificial gift. Maybe a baseline example would be giving up your Starbucks, which will save $3 a day, or $20 a week, or $1,000 a year. And for 5 years, we're talking about a $5,000 pledge. We ask you to discern a sacrificial gift that your family can pay over 5 years. Many of you have had the benefit of receiving a Catholic education. Previous generations have sacrificed so that you could receive that education. Now it is our opportunity to invest in future generations to help them carry out the faith which we love. In the gospel, Christ has promised to repay us 100 times for what we give up in his name. Also, supporting Catholic education is a wonderful way to evangelize, to help bring the faith to others. Please remember, 40% of what is collected at Christ Prince of Peace stays in our parish for the benefit of your family and the families of your fellow parishioners. You have received, or will receive shortly, your package, which provides additional information on the Beyond Sunday campaign, along with your pledge card. Please pray and make a decision and act sacrificially. Please return your pledge card with whatever amount you can provide at your earliest convenience. If you cannot participate, then please indicate so on your pledge card and return it, so that we will not have to bother you with a follow-up call. I am confident that with your help, the Beyond Sunday Capital Campaign for Catholic education will be successful in our parish. Now, I'll turn things over to Kelly Sullentrop, a CPOP parishioner and mother of CPOP students. for her personal testimony on Catholic education and why she and Curtis sacrifice to keep their children in our parish school. Thank you, and may God bless you and your family.
My name is Kelly Solentraub, and I have been a member of the parish for 8 years. My husband Curtis and I have 2 children who attend Christ Prince of Peace School. Our daughter Grace is in 5th grade, and our son Michael is in 1st. Today I want to talk to you about our experience as parents who have chosen Catholic education for our children, why it is important to our family, and give you a glimpse of what your support of Beyond Sunday could do for other families. Why Catholic education? It is a question I have been asked many times, and it was a question my husband and I asked ourselves before enrolling Grace, our oldest, in kindergarten. We live in the highly desirable Parkway School District, an area we sought out when buying our current home. At the time, Grace was 2, and Michael was just a twinkle in our eyes. Despite being products of Catholic schools ourselves and wanting that for our children, we just couldn't be certain we would be able to afford it, and we wanted options. Furthermore, being a former teacher with my master's in education, part of me questioned whether the financial sacrifice Catholic school would demand on us was worth it, knowing the promising and innovative things going on in public education. Still, when the time came, there was something all my questioning and knowledge couldn't dispel. My gut feeling that my children belonged here. My gut feeling has proven to be right. Still, it isn't always easy to verbalize why we chose Catholic education, even though I have 1,000 answers. In fact, I find a new answer every day, but they aren't always hard facts or statistics or the kinds of things that are often demanded to justify lofty financial commitments. Yet, I tend to think my answers are more important than anything you could quantify or calculate. Christ Prince of Peace School provides the opportunity for my children to understand that their faith isn't a class they take, but a way they live. Let me give you an example. I've been the coach for my daughter's basketball team the past 2 years. During one particular game, our opponents were playing unfairly rough, and the referees seemed to have turned a blind eye. Understandably, my girls were upset and felt defeated. And like anyone being attacked, they reached the point where they wanted revenge after playing honestly clearly wasn't working. If the refs weren't going to call fouls, then they were ready to play dirty too. They all looked at me with desperate frustration in their faces as one of them asked, "Can we just go out there and smack them?" The protective mama bear in me wanted to be like, "Heck yeah, girls, go out there and defend yourselves." But what came out of my mouth was this: that's not how Jesus would play basketball. Those girls looked at me and they knew. One of them even said, "We can do this, guys. We can do it the right way." They knew how to conduct themselves. And it wasn't just because of one statement I made in the moment. It was because those girls have been taught and shown how to live in the image of Jesus every single day at school. Faith is the easy answer to the question, why Catholic education? We all know that is what sets it apart, and I have more stories than I can count of ways my children have demonstrated a deeper faith and purer character because of their Catholic education. Many argue that parents are the first teachers of faith, and that is true. But as a Catholic parent, I still find I'm not always the expert. Sometimes it's not any different than the times my children bring home math homework I can't help with. The faculty and staff of Christ Prince of Peace School teach my children things about their faith I may have never been able to, and help them to realize it is essential that they put these things into practice, not just at school or at home, but on the sports field, in their communities, with friends, and with strangers. But what about those other things children need to learn in school? Are we sacrificing strong academic curriculum in the core subjects so that our children can learn about Jesus every day? Can Christ Prince of Peace keep pace with their public school counterparts and the vast resources they are able to provide their students? The short answer, yes. There are people better qualified than me who can speak to Christ Prince of Peace's educational successes, high test scores, and faculty credentials. What I can speak to is how I see my own children transforming year after year. I am amazed on a daily basis at the ways Grace and Michael come home enriched, and this coming from an educator herself. They are challenged by teachers who are clearly invested in their students. Anyone who sends their kids here could probably tell you the same. But my husband and I saw a particular change in my son once he began attending Christ Prince of Peace. During his previous years of education, he certainly had wonderful, devoted teachers and made academic strides. But each day, he was happy to leave school at school as soon as he jumped off the bus, and his classroom felt very distant to me. Yet once he started at Christ Prince of Peace, I saw a difference in him. He looked forward to going to school every morning, which he had never done, not even in preschool. He would come home and randomly share unsolicited facts about rockhopper penguins, or precipitation, or the artist Piet Mondrian. I don't know that I can say he was learning more than he had before, but it was very clear he was more inspired. Whatever was happening in the Christ Prince of Peace classrooms was lighting a fire of curiosity in him I had never seen. As I think of all the ways this Catholic school has benefited Grace and Michael and changed them for the better, I wonder how my husband and I could have ever needed a pros and cons list back when we were first deciding which educational path to choose for our children. But the reality is that parochial school is a privilege that not everyone can afford, and competitive education doesn't come cheap, for good reason. In all honesty, despite our love and commitment to Christ Prince of Peace, those tuition payments still are never easy for us. Based on the current standards for archdiocesan scholarships, our household income is too high to qualify us. Yet somehow we find ourselves wondering where all the money went at the end of each month. We have foregone vacations, new cars, and household repairs because we believe in the importance of what we are giving our children. But we have also had moments where we entertain the idea of pulling them, thinking it the more financially responsible thing to do, even though it would break not only our hearts, but our children's. And our family is not alone in this struggle. Middle-income families everywhere face these same decisions. Some are able to make it work. Others are not. Thankfully, the Beyond Sunday program is here to help families like us keep our commitments to Catholic education. But if you're not one of these families who would benefit, why should you care? It's a good question. I'd love to just say we should all contribute out of the goodness of our hearts, but let's be real. There are 1,000,001 causes that can use your money out of the goodness of your heart. And somehow, I don't think brandishing a photo of my adorable children wearing pretty please puppy dog eyes will do the trick either. But just in case, I brought one along. So why should you help other people's children go to school? I firmly believe the successful future of Catholic education depends on securing the continuing enrollment of middle-income families. These are the people who may not need significant financial help, but that $1,000 they can't quite scrape together may be the only thing keeping them from sending their children to a parochial school. In this economic climate, there are a lot of people like that. And many are choosing financial security over schools like Christ Prince of Peace. With this decline, it is hard to imagine Catholic schools sustaining themselves on the enrollment of a small population of higher income families and lower income families receiving financial aid. But why should you care about the future of Catholic schools? It's simple. Strong parochial schools significantly contribute to the strength of their parishes. A good school is one of the best recruiting tools to bring in new, young parishioners like us. When we moved to this area 8 years ago, we bought a house that fell within the boundaries of another parish. Knowing school was in our future, we did our homework not just on the surrounding parishes themselves, but on the educational opportunities they provided. The absolute deciding factor that led us to Christ Prince of Peace was this school. We could envision our children walking the hallways that were adorned with the kind of artwork colored with an inspiration that can only be lit by a talented, passionate art teacher. I observed the kindergarten teacher seamlessly weave lessons of standard curriculum with faith. I walked among students who displayed polite natures. I felt a school community who welcomed us. So we joined this community. In these 8 years, we have not only fallen in love with the school, but also with the parish. We not only gave our time, talent, and treasure to the school, but also to the parish. And after our children graduate, we will continue to call this parish our home for hopefully many years to come. We need to keep that cycle going in order to continuously breathe life into our church community. If it hadn't been for the strength of Christ Prince of Peace School, I would be giving this speech at St. Joe, Manchester. So please, consider supporting the Beyond Sunday campaign. Whether you currently have children attending Christ Prince of Peace School, had children attend in the past, or never did nor intend to, I know we all have our own financial burdens to bear. And asking you to dig into your pockets means asking you to make a sacrifice. But our school will be better for it, our parish will be better for it, our Catholic faith will be better for it. And I can tell you that families like ours will forever be grateful for helping us give the gift of Catholic education to our children and the opportunity to have them learn how Jesus would play basketball. Thank you.